early 1990s, where they enjoyed raising their 3 daughters. He then began an 18-year-long career with the Rosenberg Police Department, moving through the ranks as a patrol officer, a patrol sergeant, and detective until 2011. But his service to Rosenberg did not stop there. He was elected to the office of City Councilor at Large, Position 2, in a runoff on June 8, 2019. He was then elected to mayor on May 1st of 2021, and then again on May 7th of 2022, and he has spent the last 5 years selflessly serving #OurTown.
Good morning. I'm Mayor Kevin Raines. Kim, thank you so much. And I always mess it up, and I try to get it right. Fort Bend Chamber, thank you guys so much for what you do for us. We appreciate you, what the support you give the city of Rosenberg, and it means a lot to us. I want to thank the Honor Guard. It's always a stirring moment when I see those men and women present our colors and represent our city as well as they do. So I want to thank that. I want to kick it off, and I was thinking about this when I was sitting there and I was looking out at the crowd, and I thought, man, this is a good-looking group of people, and I want to do a selfie, make me feel good, and I want to see all these beautiful faces in 10 years. So we're going to do a selfie together. So if everybody put on your best smile, and I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, and we're going to do it. 1, 2, 3. Cheese, there we go. Our town, that's what we want to say, our town. But thank you again for being here. Let's see, and I thank Deborah Prohoda for doing the invocation. She started out my very first invocation when I did my State of the City, and I felt pretty comfortable. Well, let's don't change anything. Let's bring Miss Deborah back, so we appreciate her very much. This is my third State of the City address, and my last one presenting as mayor. Like the introduction says, we've been through a lot in the last 5 years, some of which we'll recap shortly. But before we get started talking about all the great things of Rosenberg that's so incredibly proud, there's a few people I'd like to introduce first. And these are the folks that make things happen. So our city council, our mayor pro tem, Susan Newton, Councilor Mark Morales, District 2, Alicia Casillas, District 1, Parker, District 3, Hector Trevino, and District 4, George Cepeda. So I feel like I keep cutting out, so I apologize. Thank you, City Council, for all the hard work that you men and women do. See, there's also a lot of other folks in the room that I want to recognize. Officials with Fort Bend County, if you could stand up for me, I would appreciate, because I want to say some good things about you folks. We got Commissioner McCoy, and we got Bill in the back there, in the back in the good seats. We promise you we didn't put you back there on purpose. But I want to thank you guys, because you affect folks the most. Our local officials affect the average citizen's life here in our city, in our county the most. Not to say anything that our state officials, Ms. Colhurst and Mr. Nail's office, for what you do on the national level and the state level. You do a lot for us, and we appreciate it. But on the local level, our county guys, men and women, they do so much for our county, and we appreciate you for what you do. And I can't get away without saying this. If my favorite people in the room will stand up, Miss Lisa Raines, my wife, Cara Becerra, my daughter, and Jenna Raines, my youngest daughter. So trust me, a lot of women that tell me what to do, and I listen well. I try to listen well. I'm sorry. City leaders of Rosenberg. We also serve our leaders of Rosenberg here today. Please stand. We did them. John Marsh, if you'll stand up, please, sir. He's our city manager. Joyce Basut. She's our assistant city manager. Chief Jonathan White, our police chief. Daryl Maretka, our fire chief. Rigo Calzazine, he is our Executive Director of Public Services. There you are, Mr. Rigo. Judge Phyllis Ross, Municipal Court. Very much glad to have you here. And my most special person, Charles Calcamy, our city engineer. Love this man to death. He is one positive human being I love being around. And there's several other directors in attendance as well. Would like the directors please stand up for the city of Rosenberg. Any of our directors for the city of Rosenberg, I'd love for you to stand. This is what makes it happen. We get up here And we get to cloud all the glory. Yeah, we did all these wonderful things, and if it weren't for these men and women and getting out there and doing it and making it happen, it would be a mess. So thank you all very much for what you do. We appreciate you. All right, taking a journey back through time. The story of Rosenberg began in the 19th century with the Gulf, Colorado, and Santa Fe Railroad laid its tracks across the Texas prairie. Named after the company's president, Henry Rosenberg, the city grew around the railroad junction. The arrival of the railroad marked the beginning of the chapter, transforming Rosenberg into a bustling hub of trade. And fun fact I found when I was researching was that they had a hard time because of Texas heat getting workers to work. So in the afternoons, they paid off the workers with whiskey. And I'm like, well, how did they make it to work the next day? But they worked out for them. But during the Texas summers, they had to pay them off in whiskey. So maybe as business owners, that may be something we need to consider. I don't know. So. Over 140 years ago, the foundation of our town was laid and built upon a vision of growth, planning, development, and community. Built upon leaders' defined vision for the future, strategic plan, and this is what I'm so excited about, the strategic plan. A month ago, myself and City Council formally adopted a 5-year strategic plan for the city of Rosenberg. Strategic planning provides us the opportunity to find Rosenberg's direction for the future and set goals and strategies in place to guide us for the future. The new plan was outlined and developed to include a new mission statement, vision statement, core values, and goals that the city will work towards to apply achieving over several years. Strategic planning is one of the critical activities that a city engages in, since it lays out a roadmap of guide to the city from a vision to reality. Ultimately, the new strategic plan will ensure the city council and staff work together towards shared goals and make Rosenberg a safe, livable, and vibrant community. This plan took a lot of both vision and reflection, and I'm going to add to that reflection. I know us as council, we did a meeting on a Saturday away from City Hall, a public meeting where we could come in, sit down and discuss, and we brought a bunch of smart people in the room. And strategic plan is great, and when I use that word, digging into it, and you've got to be able to accept criticism and take criticism. That helps that plan move forward. Staff was very honest with us about what they needed and what they saw we could do better and what we could do better as a city to make that plan work and grow. And you've got to go into it with an open mind, and you as business owners, if that's something that you need to look into doing, a strategic plan, because you can always plan as you go, but if you have no plan, you're headed nowhere. But be open to the idea of planning strategic plan, and be open to the pluses and minuses. You may think this is all great on this side, and there may be some issues that you need to work out as a leader to move forward. So, like I mentioned before, the city will implement the plan over the next 5 years, focus on new core values and goals with LaForge, a path to realize the city's new building a better tomorrow together by cultivating a city that is financially strong with a thriving economy, quality infrastructure, and a dynamic culture. And I'll tell you what, we're very blessed with past leaders of our community who stepped up to the plate and made our infrastructure good. Well, Rosenberg is going through that awkward stage of growth, like you're a 12-year-old, 13-year-old transition into a young adult. We're starting to feel a little growing pains, and we're trying to deal with that as it comes up and plan for future growth involved with that. So our infrastructure is strong, and we're constantly adding to it and making it better. Financially strong, our city is responsible for approving the annual budget, which is nearly $102 million for all funds in the fiscal year 2024. We currently have a high bond rating, which means the city has a very strong capacity to meet its financial commitments. We had a taxable property value of over $4 billion, which is awesome. That number just staggers me with all the businesses and buildings in Rosenberg. We're over $400 billion of that. It's very, very strong. We have received, our finance department has received numerous awards on their financing activities and the way they manage our money, and we couldn't be any prouder for them. We collected over $26 million in sales tax, which is awesome. We know with some cities we've gone through some trial and errors along the way, and Rosenberg is staying strong with its sales tax collection, and we're constantly growing that number every year. Thriving economy. Rosenberg logistically assets has brought successful economic growth for decades. The city is serviced by 3 Class 1 railways and less than 60 miles from Deepwater Port, Freeport, and is only 30 minutes outside of Houston. And that's huge. There's so many different opportunities happening in there, especially with the Freeport plan that's going forward, Highway 36 expansion that's opening that roadway up to allow commerce to go back and forth. Folks are looking for rails to transport things. We're sitting on top of 3 rail systems that can make that work, and we're within 30 miles of Houston. We have a huge market that we can administer that to. So that is something to be grateful for. And if you've ever did any trip out in West Texas, Northwest Texas, and you'll see a lot of those towns that are withered up and dried up, and they were one-dimensional towns where they either was part of the big oil boom has faded away, and you may have a town that was a little town we were in, not recently, Cisco, where it had a population of over 20,000. I think, Jenna, there's 500 people that live there, maybe? So, I mean, but they weren't prepared for that future change, and it caught up with them. So we got to be careful. Quality infrastructure. The city encompasses 107 square miles, over 37 of which are with corporate city limits and 70 are in the ETJ. Over half of the land is undeveloped. So that is kind of a scary thought that over half of our area is undeveloped. So there is so much room for growth that it just staggers the mind. So it's coming. It means the city has much more room to grow. Critical and quality infrastructure must come with, including modern highway, rail, and utilities. All of those tie together to make it work. Our community offers quality leisure activities, over family-friendly festivals and events per year, local eateries, and growing list of recreational activities that contribute to our friendly, laid-back, and quality life. And if you've ever been to one of our festivals downtown, I can't see how you couldn't be more prouder that people get the mix of a big city with a small town fair. With our downtown all tied together, it makes it work so well. People come together, and an awesome experience. The city has a new mission statement. It is to provide excellent service and create and sustain a safe, livable, and vibrant community. This becomes the heartbeat of our day-to-day work, providing exceptional service, creating and sustaining a safe, livable, and vibrant community. And statements are so important, and folks discount them. And I remember the first time I got into the workforce, and people was talking about their work credo and motto, and like, yeah, you don't care about that. But if you ingrain that in your brain, okay, you can take that in other aspects of your life and grow with that and learn with that and help your business, your company succeed by putting those mottos aboard so folks will have something to think about and learn. Safe community. Our police department was recently rated in the top 1% of the United States for their actions during traffic stops. Our fire department was recently maintained their ISO rating of a 2Y. Did it right. Thank goodness. All right, both of these significant accolades reflect our commitment to keep our residents and visitors safe. A safe community always has been and always will be. And I know years ago, Rosenberg was at the forefront of racial profiling when it come to our police department. Robert Gracia, our police chief back then, had a vision of this is an issue that we need to address. And I admit, in 25 years, I think we've been a part of that racial profiling to learn better, train our officers to understand, be aware of their biases, and be able to make good, sound decisions. So very proud of Rosenberg for the leaning forward that they've done with this item. Livable community. In 2023, Rosenberg saw over 900 new housing starts in the city limits and ETJ. That's many new families that choose Rosenberg for the place to live, work, shop, and play. So 900 homes right there, and I tell you, if you can't drive probably more than 2 miles and you don't see a subdivision starting up or in the process of starting up. So they're coming. We got to be ready for them. Vibrant community. Have been to one of the city's special events that define vibrance, the color, the feel, the memory making, getting out and meeting new friends. And that's what I tell you. If you got an opportunity and you see an event in Rosenberg, please come experience it. You won't believe the feel you get. We've developed our core values tied around the motto of thrives. Teamwork. We believe in power of collaboration and unity among our citizens, leaders, and our staff to achieve common goals and enhance the well-being of our community. Teamwork. Hometown. We cherish and preserve the unique character and history of our town, creating a sense of belonging for all who is home. Respect. We promote a culture of mutual respect, recognizing the inherent worth and dignity of every individual in our diverse community. Integrity. We hold ourselves to the highest ethical standards, ensuring transparency and accountability in all our actions. Vision. We embrace innovation and forward-thinking ideals to shape a sustainable and prosperous future for Rosenberg while preserving our historic past. Employees. We strive to maintain a healthy work culture that places emphasis on physical and mental wellness, being of our employees can perform to their full potential. And as we know, coming out of the COVID era, a lot of emotional issues have came forward with that, and we need to be mindful of that and respectful of that with our employees and work with them to make their lives a little more comfortable. You know, as leaders, that's our responsibility to engage with them and make sure we're doing right. Service. We are committed to delivering superior service and continuously improving to meet the needs of our community. And I say that with all sincerity. Rosenberg does a great job of self-evaluating itself and changing and adapting the needs we do to do better. And I think that's so important. Those type of various strategies. Goal number 1, planning and development. To plan and invest in infrastructure to accommodate the future growth and development of Rosenberg. Planning and development is so important, and I look back on those guys that 150 years ago that laid out the groundwork of Rosenberg, and I would love to go back in time and let them see where we're at now and kind of see, is this what your vision was? And my vision of Rosenberg is I want to make sure we're tying the old and the new together. I don't want old Rosenberg to get forgot about. The Highway 98 project, we're heavily invested in that to make sure we're keeping it strong, as well as all the new growth that we're having along the 59 corridor. Goal 2, safe and attractive communities. To improve the community for the citizen and business of Rosenberg by creating a safe and attractive city through public safety initiative, code compliance strategies, and land use regulation and revitalization programs. And it's so important that we do those things and keep them going. Fire station number 1, we didn't mention it in the next few slides that we have here. Fire station 1, we saw a problem. We addressed it. We were able to collect the monies together to get it done, and I think that project's going to start within 6 months, maybe 3 months. All right, we'll get it done quick. But our Station 1 was old, built back in the 50s, and it wasn't serving our employees well, and it wasn't serving our community well, and we reinvested in that one. Goal 3, facilities, technology. Develop a strategy that provides city facilities, technology, and capital equipment required to support a rapidly growing city. Goal 3 to me is one of the most important ones because you have to look at the city as a business. You can't look at it as just a government that takes care of the trash, the water, the sewer. It's a business that we have to constantly reinvest in and make it grow. Making sure our facilities are up to date with the needs of our people, making sure that we're providing the perfect customer service with our people. We have the right amount of police locations available. The roads are in good shape. So we've got to work on these facilities. We've got to make sure they're up to date and current, because now I think we're at over 300 employees, and we're adding to that as we grow. So we've got to make sure we've got the facilities to take care of, and 40,000 citizens we've got to take care of. Civic engagement to improve community and civic engagement. And that's one thing that I stumbles me a little bit with community engagement. I wish more people would get involved, wish more people would pay attention to local. And I know it's so easy not to get involved because we have our own work life, we have our own family life, and we have things we've got to take to. But I want folks to pay attention to the city of Rosenberg, because the things we do every day affect you, and we would want your input and your voice in that. So civic engagement, that's one thing that I champion and I think we need to do better at, is getting involved with our community and making sure we're getting our message out to them. Culture and recreation, to maintain and enhance their current culture, special events, and recreation in parks. Man, if it was up to me, we would have 30, 40 parks. I think you can't have enough leisure activity for folks, things for people to get out and do. I think it's so important that young people have that opportunity. A kid growing up in Route 9, Box 7, 50 Lufkin, Texas, we didn't have a park. We were out in the middle of the country, so we had woods, trees, and creeks, all that fun stuff, so we got to see it. But you see a kid that lives in a city environment, urban environment, they don't have access to that thing. Their world probably revolves around that block they live in. That world, if they're lucky to get outside that block, it may be in the city they live in and they get to see those things. And if they're fortunate enough to get outside their county, they get to see those wonderful things. But by bringing parks into a community and folks have access to that for their children and their day-to-day mental health checkup, just to get out and walk in God's green nature is so important. Like I say, we'd have 50 or 60 parks all over the place if I had my choice. Financial and stability, to provide wise stewardship of financial resources to meet current and future service demands and obligations. And that's one thing I couldn't be more proud of. Rosenberg does a great job with taking money, being frugal with the money, and spending it where it needs to be spent. Organizational development to maintain and continue to create a confident workforce with a supportive culture. So much good stuff here. And right now, and you probably see it as people who hire, it's the workforce market is tight right now. I think the last number I saw with Fort Bend County, we were at 3.6 on the unemployment rate, somewhere in there. Rosenberg's at 4. So there's not a big workforce to draw from right now. Folks got jobs and holding on to them. Excuse me. So it's important that we make sure we're hiring good folks and taking care of them. Our focus is a lot on the future. We now neglect the accomplishment of the past year. Did you know that the city has over 300 full-time employees? Spoke of that, 6 part-time employees. The city wouldn't be where it is today without the hard work of those individuals. And I tell you what, if you see those folks out there working, and I tell you, the summertime, last summer was just crazy hot, and you see them out there doing their job and doing it with dignity. It makes you feel good. The past year, we've accomplished quite a bit. 564 animal adoptions, and I couldn't be prouder of that. That's animals that we picked up in our community, was able to get on a good place and get them out to someone that loves and cares for them. So that is an awesome deal. Performed 15,702 building inspections. We're doing a lot of work in our code compliance department. Processed over 2,663 code enforcement cases. Getting out there, making sure that our community is looking great. Replaced 804 street signs. Mowed over 10 acres of right-of-way and open space. And I think that gateway with Rosenberg starting at 762 all the way to Spur 10, keeping that mowed, because when people are passing through, hey, if it looks kind of, they want to pass it by. And I think us keeping it up and making it look good, I think that's important. Now, on Saturdays, we have a program. We swept over 1,462 miles of streets. So with our 300 employees, plus all our city councils, we all get brooms on Saturdays, and we go out and sweep. No. We have street sweepers that come in and do our street sweeping for us, and trying to keep the city beautiful, keep the leaves out of the storm drains so the water is flowing and getting off the streets. Opened 2,182 new water accounts. That is probably, in my mind, huge. So you're looking at over 2,000 new accounts in our water department. Answered the call of 170,890 times in dispatch. Our poor dispatchers, God bless them, they're answering that out of that phone, and you do the math on that, and that's a lot of calls every day. 468 calls a day. Had 858 rentals here at the Civic Center. I remember a time where we could probably maybe get 20, 30 rentals a year out of it, and hitting 800, that's awesome. Without a doubt, the biggest push for forward progress over the last year must be the monumental passing of the charter updates. On the Tuesday, November 7th, and I kind of cringed when we did it. Our charter was written in 1965, I believe it was, and we still had things in there about tying your horse to a water stand or something, and so we went in, and the crew we had a committee sit down and go through that charter from top to bottom. We've always picked at it over the years, but we totally rehabbed it, cleaned it up, got rid of a bunch of old verbiage, made it up to date, made it current to the times, and I'm very proud of that. We took it to the voters. The voters voted for it. We also took 2 bond issues to them, and we'll get into that, but they voted positive for that. So we've got our charter updated, cleaned up, and modernized, which I'm very proud of. Emergency Service Complex, one of our bond issues that we took, $18.5 million for emergency service-related infrastructure, including Fire Station number 4, an the Operations Center and Fire Department Administrative Building. And I tell you, our poor fire administration have been like gypsies over the years. They have gone from one side of the town to the other. Wherever we can rent a spot for them, those poor folks have had to move into it. And hopefully, Chief, we're going to have you a home here pretty soon, and we'll have you fixed up and everything. And we'll have our fire station number 4 as well with that. This one I'm so proud of, and if you've ever had the opportunity to go over near the river, Brazos Street, our public utilities is over there, and I probably in the 30 years I've been in this community, they've probably lost 10 acres on the back where the river is eroding it away, and it just keeps getting smaller and smaller over there, and they're running out of places to park things. But we're investing $33 million public service complex to consolidate public service departments, put them all together, provide proper office space, adequate shelter, large equipment, and centralized city services. So that place will be located right in the heart of Rosenberg, so they'll better serve the whole community. The 51 charter amendments updates allow the city to modernize the charter. We talked about that. 24 will bring exciting and much needed improvements to Rosenberg, and we'll be sure to keep you updated along the way. In closing, I know that's the best slide that we've been waiting on, and I apologize for this microphone. It's driving me crazy sitting there holding this. In closing, I want to say thank you for your support, your friendship, and all the kind regards you have given me as mayor of Rosenberg. I am truly honored and blessed to have served our great city. I'm truly blessed and honored to have met and known a bunch of you folks, and I know with the crowd we have here today, and others involved with the city, that this town is set for success and it's ready to roll. So with that, I say God bless, have a good day, and we'll see you soon.